Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon here on YouTube, and then I post it up to Facebook. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, Psychology Today will pop up, click on that, and it will have qualified therapists in your area. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other damn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay, so a couple of announcements. I cannot counsel people that are not residents of Arizona. If you need help with dealing with a narcissist, you want to get a hold of Susanna Quintana at SusannaQuintana.com. I've had several people contact me this week going, but what if I drove through? What if I did this? What if I did? I can't, guys. Sorry. I wish I could. Plus the fact, I'm not seeing anybody in person until this whole COVID shit is done with. So anyway, Susanna Quintana, you're still that girl. Her book is available. She's amazing. So she's at SusannaQuintana.com. She is an expert in how to get away from narcissists. Also, if you are separating, divorcing a narcissist or a malignant borderline, Splitting by Bill Eddy and Randy Krieger. Randy Krieger is the one that wrote Stop Walking on Eggshells. Excellent book. So these two, great book. Great book. Okay. Yeah, I'm over this COVID stuff too. I'm just like, make it stop. I miss people. Meh. Shahida Arabi's new book. This is her old book. Her new book is going to be out, I believe, October, I think is what she said. So her new book is coming out. It'll be out in October. In the meanwhile, this is a really good book, Healing the Adult Children of Narcissists. And of course, if you want to read my two books, they're available on Amazon. I also have them on Audible. I do the narration for them. This one is about growing up with my dad, who was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And this one is called You Can Lead a Horse to Water, but you can't make him cha-cha, which is why some people stay in abusive relationships and others don't. Anyway, so there is all of the shameless plugging for the morning. So yeah, I'm not doing any personal appearances, guys, until it's safe, basically. The numbers go down, got a cure, a vaccine, a better treatment, something, because I don't want to die and I don't want anybody else to die. So, whew. Anyway, that's it. Okay, so moving on to today's topic. I know a lot of you are very, very interested in this, so I'm hoping that this is helpful for you. So today's topic is money, 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 money. Let's all go karaokeing when this whole thing is over. Shall we do that? That would be fun. I would really like that. I would love to see people. That would be awesome. Sorry, total tangent. Okay, money. Let's talk about it. So when we are raised by a narcissist, a malignant borderline, personality disordered person, etc., we get a really skewed up sense of what money really is, okay? So with a narcissist, with a malignant narcissist, it's kind of like what's theirs is theirs and what's yours is theirs. And so there's no boundaries. So, and they start making you feel guilty for having stuff or for having money or for being independent. So let's take a look at this. What does money really mean? Well, it means what we assign it to mean. But it also has some very real meanings, as in, if you have money, you have freedom. You can go places. You can leave. You can get away from the narcissist. So in a lot of narcissistic relationships, almost all of the narcissistic relationships, in fact, all of the narcissistic relationships, I had to think about that one for a moment, their goal is to control your money because they don't want you leaving. They don't want you having independence. They don't want you to have your own agency, as it were. So if you are raised by a narcissist, okay, this is kind of the weirdness that happens with that. And I've seen it multiple ways. And I know there's more than one way that these people do this, but this is what I've seen predominantly. They will spend money hand over fist on themselves. They will occasionally spend money on the children, but only if there is an agenda to be gained. So in other words, if they get some sort of narcissistic supply out of doing something for that child so that that child can make them look good. So example, with my dad, he was crazy. You guys know that. You've read the book. I've talked about him. He would basically live like a pauper. He was an attorney. He had money coming out of his ass, okay? It wasn't like he was dirt poor or anything. So, but he would spend money hand over fist on crazy things for himself that he ended up destroying because he was crazy. But then what he would do is, if one of my sisters showed any sort of academic acuity, he would pour money into them, send them to the best college, and then broadcast to the entire town how wonderful those two kids were because they were just like him and they were really smart and this, that, and the other thing and blah, blah, blah. So in that case, money was spent, but there was an agenda. It was an agenda. So very quickly, money became associated with, in my family, either a punishment or a reward. And that is what narcissists do, is that I need to get a clip for my hair. What the hell is it doing? That is what they do. They basically use it as a reward or punishment. So withholding money is a punishment. If you do what they want, they reward you. And so we quickly start associating money with things other than what it is. Money is a means to an end. That is it. There is no emotional connection to money unless we make an emotional connection to money. And here's the thing. Our abusers made an emotional connection to money. And so there's so much to this topic. I'm not even sure where to begin. So I have seen abusers do something like the spouse had an inheritance. And so the abuser wanted to get their hands on it. And so they started telling the other partner, oh, well, that's blood money. You need to get rid of it. You need to spend it. You need to spend it on me. And if the spouse spent anything on themselves, the abuser would come unglued and punish them for spending their own money on themselves. And it had to be spent on the abusive partner. So, and the lies about what money was were just crazy, like, this is blood money. You need to get rid of it as soon as possible. You need to, but it needs to be spent on me. Cuckoo. Anyway, so, weird things about that, like, it's not okay to have your own inheritance if you happen to be lucky enough to get one. It's not okay to have your own money or spend your own money on yourself. In abusive relationships, what I see the narcissists do is that they isolate the target. And this goes for, guys, this goes for whether the abuser is male or female. It does not matter. They do the same shit world round. So what they do is they target the victim and they basically make them stop working. Or conversely, they stop working, the abuser stops working, and they make the other person completely the sole breadwinner so that there is absolutely no extra money. Or they do the whole, no, I don't want you to work. I'm going to give you an allowance. Oh my God, the number of times I have seen abusers do that. I'm going to give you an allowance and you're going to have to live off of that. So all of the household stuff has to come out of your allowance. In other words, again, no money to be able to escape. So we get this really skewed sense of money. And not only that, our abusers love to tell us how irresponsible we are with money when they are the ones who are, swear to God and all its holy, I am going to cut this hair off. They are the ones that are spending it hand over fist, spending it on stupid stuff, destroying good things, craziness. And I've seen this so many times where they use the money to keep the target of abuse stuck, especially if there are children involved. Now, let's talk about how we feel about money. So when we get this message constantly, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough, you're irresponsible, you don't know how to deal with it, blah, 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 we start believing it. We start believing that we are not, quote unquote, good with money because we've been sold a bill of goods and we listen to the abuser and we believe them. And especially if that is reinforced from abusive parents. Abusive parents love to do that. Oh my God, that's the other thing. So, okay. So what I have seen abusive parents do is not only is what's theirs is theirs and what's yours is theirs and what's everybody else is theirs. You'll become an adult, 18 years old, working a job. Next thing you know, you're getting an email or a sob call from the abuser. Well, we just can't make rent and you need to pay it. Well, we just blah, 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 and you need to pay it. I'm sorry, what? And they'll do that. Abusers are just, oh my God, they're crazy. There's no boundaries. There are no boundaries. There are no boundaries. Literally in their heads, you owe them for them ejaculating 30 years ago or whatever. Do you see where I'm going with that? It's like you owe them because you were born. And I'm just sitting here going, no, 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 you don't. So, but this is something that they do. And so they give us this screwed up idea that somehow money is bad. That's one of the connotations they do to it. So like that whole blood money thing that I was talking about, they'll be like, oh, money is the root of all evil. Money is bad. You shouldn't keep it. You shouldn't have it. You need to spend it 24/7. And they're always broke. It's like they do one of two things. So this is what I see. It's like abusers are crazy. And of course they do the splitting, right? All, nothing, good, bad, black, white. So I've seen them do the hoarding thing where they hoard. They've got tons of money and they won't spend any of it on anybody else except themselves. Or they do the spending the money hand over fist, but not on anybody else. It's always on them. Does that make sense? Unless, like I said, caveat, it makes them look good in some way, shape, or form, that they are getting some sort of narcissistic supply out of it. Does that make sense? So, okay. So they give us this message, money is bad. Money needs to be spent. It needs to be gone. It's blood money. It's this, it's that, it's the other thing. Or we get the message like, it's not okay for us to have money. Have you noticed that? So what I've noticed with my clients when they are leaving an abuser, whether that abuser is a family of origin or whether that abuser is a romantic partner, they start doing this thing where it's like, how dare you? How dare you have your own money? How dare you have any left over? I want an accounting of everything. I want to know everywhere where it's going, blah, 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 blah. And they make it so that the person cannot get enough money saved up to get an apartment, get an attorney, get the hell out. And that's intentional. That is absolutely intentional. So we get this really weird relationship to money. We have this skewed sense of money. And here's the other thing that they do. So they use it as a punishment or a reward, right? So it's if the person is doing what they want, it's I love you, I love you, I love you. Here's all this money or here's all this stuff, right? All this material stuff. If the person doesn't do what they want, it's taken away or literally taken away. So they'll give something and then they'll take it back, or they'll cry broke and you need to sell it and give them the money or whatever. So they use it as a punishment, and they use it as a reward. And so we get this idea that if we have money, somehow we're loved. That's not healthy, guys. That is not healthy. So, and this is common in dysfunctional families where money is used as an expression of love. Does that make sense? So in other words, when the narcissist is getting their supply fulfilled and they're happy as they can be, because I don't think they ever really are happy, then what they do is they reward people. But if they're not being fulfilled and you're not doing what they want, they take it away. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And believe me, they think they're God. So yeah, this is what they do. And so in our little minds, in our little inner child minds, we start associating stuff and money with love. And that's not what love is. That is not what love is. So, this is common. This is so common. So the way to start working on this is you got to figure out what is your relationship to money. What do you think about it? Really? What does it mean to you? And, or what have you heard it mean from them? And I think that's important. So again, with everything else, so we've been dealing with the internal critic, right? We've been undoing all of the negative, nasty messages that we got about ourselves. I think it's time we start dealing with the negative, nasty messages we get about money, because money is the ability to move, leave, get away, save yourself. Do you see where I'm going with that? And they don't want us to be healthy with that. They don't want us to be competent with managing our own money. Oh, that was the other thing. See, so much in this one topic. And I'm sitting here going, I could go this direction. I could go that direction. The other thing that I've seen them do is that I have seen narcissistic parents malignant parents infantilize the children, even though they're teenagers or above, and they will control the purse strings, not even allow their teenager to have a bank account or manage their own bank account because they want to keep control on the purse strings. So they make it so the kid never is able to grow up and balance a checkbook or balance checks. We don't really use checks anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Balance an actual account, incoming, outgoing. Let's not have more outgoing than incoming, and they don't ever allow that. And then they sit there and tell everybody how incompetent the child is and how they don't know how to manage their own money. Well, how the fuck would they know how to manage their own money if nobody's ever given them the chance to manage it? So this is really important to watch how these parents do this. And it's really important to take the reins back, especially if you're an adult. So if you're in a family where you're a legal adult and they've got reins on the money, go open your own account. Learn how to manage money. Catholic Services, Catholic Charities has budgeting classes. And Fresh Start Women's Resource Center also has budgeting classes. They don't ever allow the children to grow up. They infantilize them, especially with money, because that is a great way in their crazy minds to control, to manipulate, to keep down, to make sure that they never leave, to make sure they never grow, to make sure they never fill in the blank, are more successful than them, or whatever. So in dealing with that, in countering that, figure out what your relationship with money is. Is it a healthy one? Are you balancing? Are you budgeting? Are you able to have incoming and outgoing and you know exactly where it is? Or is everything chaos? You feel guilty for having money, okay? Because they love to make us feel guilty for having money. They love to make us feel guilty for having money. So as an example, my dad was a hoarder. My dad was a total hoarder. He was very, very wealthy. He was an attorney. He had plenty of money. He never spent it on anybody except himself. And it was always stuff that he ended up breaking because he self-sabotaged like nobody's business. So if my mom was able to do anything nice for any of us, he would come unfucking glued and punish. You didn't deserve that. How dare you spend my money? Ba, 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 ba. Crazy balls. Seriously. So, and the other thing that he would do is if mom spent money on herself, well, how dare you? Why didn't you get me something? Yeah. And she worked full time. She was his secretary. It was a fucked up situation. So he would punish her when she decided to spend something nice on herself. And then he would demand, well, where's mine kind of thing. And, and then it became very clear that you could not give something to yourself unless you made sure he had something, which is like, what adult does that? Well, I know, a narcissist or a borderline that's malignant. Wow. So yeah, it's a very screwed up relationship, and it makes it so that we feel guilty when we start doing nice things for ourselves. And this, guys, all ties into, and I know it's crazy, but it's all connected. It all ties into self-esteem and self-care. Yes. So this all ties into that. So when you are confronting all of this that we got from our abuser, whether it was money is evil, money is bad. I've heard that one 100,000 million times too. It's like, oh, money is the root of all evil. You shouldn't have it. Therefore, you should spend it on me. What? No, they really do that. Or that you're not worthy of the money. You're not worthy of having your own money. Or infantilization. You are incompetent. You cannot take care of your own money. You need me to take care of it, blah, blah, blah. That's when you've got to sit down and write this all out. Seriously, get it out of your head, get it onto paper. This is not fun. It isn't, because it's kind of like, I bet you most of us haven't even thought of what our relationship to money is, because we've been so busy dealing with the inner critic, not good enough, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 right? Well, now we're going to have to deal with the inner critic in regards to our relationship with money. Money is a means to an end. It is freedom. It absolutely is. It can get you the fuck out of an abusive situation. Abso-fucking-lutely. Does it have any more emotional meaning than that? No, it is not love. It is not. It is not. I know our abusers would love for us to think it is. And therefore, when we don't have a lot or when we don't have enough, we start going, oh, I'm not loved. Oh, I'm not loved. I'm not loved. I'm not loved. No, you are loved. You just don't have any cash. And it's really hard to make that separation. I speak from experience. I've been there. I have done that because my parents did that to me. So, held on to the purse strings, told me that it was love, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really important, really important. I can't even stress how important this is. Get it separated in your head. What is money really? Really take the emotional charge off of it. And I know I've covered this in other videos, but I'm going to say it again. They use the inheritance as a way to control. So in other words, do what I want and I'll give you an inheritance. And if not, I'll write you out. My dad did that all the time. He had more wills than fucking Howard Hughes. So anyway, the point being is you got to write it out. Get it out of your head, get it onto paper. What is money really? And then separate that out. What is really your thoughts about money and what is really their thoughts about money? Super important. Just like how we were separating out the negative, nasty, what if, not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Wait a minute. Is this my thought or is this their thought? Oh, that's their thought. Oh, their thought is that money is love. Oh, their thought is, their story is that I'm incompetent with money, blah, 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 if that's what they were doing, the infantilization. So you've got to separate that out and put it back onto the abuser. So this is why I'm saying, guys, when you do the CPTSD workbook and when you do the inner child workbook, it is like peeling the layers of an onion. So the first few layers, we are just dealing with the trauma. Oh, Lord, I'm getting goosebumps, man. It's like we're dealing with the trauma and we're dealing with the negative, nasty, messages that we've got about who we are and what we are and where we are in the universe. Then when we go back through, we've got to start working on the other traumas, maybe not emotional, but this is definitely a trauma. Telling somebody that they're incompetent and can't handle their own money, making sure that they have just enough to sort of kind of squeak by, but not enough to leave. Wow. Terrifying. It's like we've got to get them out of our head onto paper and separate out what is their bullshit messages, their bullshit story, their bullshit projection, as opposed to who the fuck we really are and what do we really deserve. So this is why I'm saying this is all about taking your power back. This also goes back to self-esteem, really knowing who you are, really grounding yourself in getting rid of that internal critic, really telling the internal critic to go fuck itself sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat, and making sure that you separate out those emotions, those mistaken thoughts, mistaken beliefs that the abusers gave us about who you are in regards to money. Whew, it's a lot. And it just, they do this. This is one of the greatest ways that they manipulate. It's, how do I explain? So when you're going back through, you're going to be reading the CPTSD workbook and you're going to be reading the inner child workbook multiple times because you're going to be working on different issues, different traumas. So like I said, the first time through is going to be the emotional stuff, the emotional trauma, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse, the sexual abuse, the emotional abuse, the religious abuse, whatever kind of abuse they put through. The next few times that you go through, I want you to go deeper. What else are you having trouble with in your life? And one of the number one things we have trouble with is money. So go back through the inner child workbook, go back through the CPTSD book and figure out what the messages were about you and money, you and your competency, you and your ability to function as an adult in the world. That's what they want. They want to make sure that you don't. They really do, because they're fucking assholes. So when you go back through the next time or whenever you decide to, because this is a big issue, guys, and it's a very emotional issue. I know it sounds really stupid, but it's like we do assign a lot of emotionality to stuff, to things, to money. Why? Because narcissists have absolutely no way of emotionally relating to the world, and the only thing that they understand is money or stuff or things, okay? So, and they try to get us to be the same way. And then there comes a point in time when you're just kind of like, okay, money is a means to an end. It is not meaning that I'm loved. It's not meaning I'm not loved. It's a means to an end, And I'm not going to get into the whole political, social, blah, blah. Do I think money is great? No. If I had my way, we'd be living in Star Trek right now, and I would be on Vulcan, but that's okay. They couldn't stand me. I'm too emotional. Anyway, the point being is that we get this weird shit from them about what money is, and we need to clear that the fuck out of our heads because it's not real. It's not true. So I would suggest taking your power back. You write that out. You clear that. You separate out, put it back on them, just like we did with the emotional stuff, just like we did with the stories they told about who we are, right? Emotionally. So you put it back on them. Pete Walker's book, chapter 3. Put it back on them. The shame. We have a lot of shame around money. Holy shit. We have a lot of fear. We have a lot of guilt. We have a lot of anger. We have a lot of all this stuff. It really is not about money itself. It's really about the abuser, and it's about the bullshit stories that they told us about who we are around money. So go back through those 2 books. Do it from your perspective. When was the first time in your life that you realized that they used money? That they used money against you? When did you realize that money was used as a manipulation, used as a punishment, used as a reward, used as a carrot in front of you? When did you realize that they were holding the purse strings and weren't going to allow you to be an adult? When did you realize? How old were you? When you realized they were infantilizing you, making you incompetent and not able to take care of yourself, etc., etc., etc. Does that make sense? So that's what I want you guys to do, because this is like another layer of the onion. Like I said, we're just peeling layers of the onions. Multiple. Okay, so the other thing I've seen narcissists do is, like I said, one of 2 things. Either they hoard the money and spend it on themselves and refuse to spend it on anybody else, or if they do, there's an agenda, or they refuse to work at all and they force the kids to support the family, so that the kids can't leave and the kids feel guilty. So I just want to make this extremely, extremely clear yet again. If you are feeling fear, if you are feeling obligation, if you are feeling guilt, that is not a healthy relationship. Do you feel fear, obligation, or guilt in regards to your own money? Do you feel like you have to give it to your abuser? Do you feel like you have to support your mom and dad because they won't? Okay, this is something to think about. Any relationship that has fear, obligation, or guilt, that makes you feel fearful, feel obligated to somebody, or feel guilty, that is not a healthy relationship. And if somebody's trying to guilt trip you into caring for them, and this is, oh my God, look, I'm no spring chicken, guys. I'm 55 years old. Ain't nobody going to take care of my ass. I take care of my own ass. But I have heard narcissists younger than me telling their adult children, oh, I'm old. I can't do this. You need to take care of it. Bullshit, motherfucker. No. Oh, God, I hate those people. Anyway, the point being is they will pull that, the guilt. You know, I can't take care of myself. I'm too old. I'm too this. I'm too that. Fuck you. No, if you're a kid and you've got an adult parent pulling that shit, get the fuck out. Seriously, get out. Because all they're going to do, it's going to get worse. They don't ever get better. As they get older, they get worse. Trust me on that one. Holy crap. Anyway, so to recap, before I start taking questions, money is not love. Money is a means to an end. It is freedom. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to deny the reality of the world today. You know, it's like, yeah, it buys us freedom. It does. It gets us the fuck out of bad situations. It does. Okay. But here's the thing. Money is not anything that the narcissist told us it was. It has no reflection on who we are. It has no bearing on where we are in the universe or who we present as or whatever. It's not love. It's not, they use it as a punishment. They use it as a reward, but that's not really what it is. It's a means to an end. But of course, for them, it is a means to an end because they want to control. So you've got to get it out of your head, get it onto paper, separate it out. At the end of separating all of that out, take your power back. How? Give them the big middle finger. Go no contact. Refuse to play the game. Get the fuck out. Get with a good trauma therapist and work through this issue. This is a self-esteem issue. This is a boundary issue. This is a inner child issue. At the end of that letter, you take your power back. You have no power here. You have no power here. Get the fuck out. I'm taking the reins over and you are not dictating to me. If you are in a situation, however, where you're like depending on this person because they've made it so that you're isolated, I strongly suggest you call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Admins, can we get that up there, please? And also get into a budgeting class. I would strongly suggest, and this is something I've told my clients before, use the food banks. So when your abuser gives you money to go buy food, go to the food banks instead. Some of them demand receipts. Can't really get around that. But if they don't, go to the food banks and then pocket that money and then get the fuck out as soon as you possibly can. Oh, Jesus, I hate fucking abusers. I really do. So you're going to take your power back. You're going to take a budgeting class and you're going to reassure and reaffirm in your own mind you have the right to manage your own money. And in fact, mirror work. Hi, good to see you. Have a wonderful day. You know what? You have a right to manage your own money. You know what? You are competent with money. You do know what you're doing. You're not an idiot. You're not any of the things that your parents or your partner has told you. And it's okay for you to do self-care. And it's okay for you to budget. And it's okay for you to have plenty. And I think that's where we get stuck, because the narcissist is very much in the malignant borderline, very much in that all or nothing, good or bad, black or white. So it's like it's either feast or famine. And it's not enough, too much, not enough, too much, not enough, too much. And we get stuck in that. We get caught up in that. No. What we are aiming for here is balance. So you have a right to be balanced. You have a right to figure out how to manage your money, how to budget, how to balance, literally. So, okay, I think that's all I have to say on that. Again, I cannot go across state lines, guys. I wish I could, but unfortunately, the lovely government has not caught up with technology and they won't let us. So if you need somebody to do narcissistic work with you, SusannaQuintana.com, SusannaQuintana.com. She's your girl. She can go across state lines. She can go across international lines, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Even if you're driving through, I can't see you kind of thing. And plus the fact we're in the middle of a fucking pandemic, I'm not seeing anybody. So anyway, there that is. So, all right. Let's take some questions. How about that? Okay. All right. Is it common for narcissists to say, in this family, we don't have your money or my money, we have our money? Oh, fuck yeah. Communal narcissists do that all the time. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard that from communal narcissists. You bet. Hang on. So yeah, they do this whole, oh, it's not your money. It's not my money. It's our money. Here's what I strongly suggest. John has got his own bank account. I have got my own bank account. We have a bank account that we put in for household funds, and it's split fairly. He makes more money than I do. So we do it accordingly to, how much we can safely contribute without going under ourselves. Does that make sense? So that is really important. It's that you have yours, they have theirs, they don't have access to yours, you don't have access to theirs, but you've got a joint one where you do the communal stuff. So when I say communal, I mean communal property, taking care of the house, plumbers, etc. Yes, in communal narcissists, they very much do the whole, oh, it's ours. Oh my God. Yeah, it's ours, as they go off and buy a, fucking Rolex for themselves. And meanwhile, the kids are like starving to death. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That is so common in communal narcissists. Absolutely. Okay. I grew up with parents who would let bills go to collections unpaid. So I'm afraid of spending money besides paying bills. How do I get rid of my fear of spending money? So again, you got to write it out. It's like, wow, mom and dad did this. I am not mom and dad. You're not. You have a choice. You can do something different. I would take budgeting classes to help you feel more confident. I would start working on, what does money mean to you, right? Lack and scarcity. They were always living in lack and scarcity. And, my dad kind of did something similar. I don't think he ever defaulted on bills, but he was constantly telling anyone who would listen how, near the poorhouse he was. He was an attorney and the only really big attorney in the two towns that were my town and the town next door. And he was the city attorney. So you cannot tell me this man didn't, and he had tons of money. But they do that. They love to play the pauper. It's like Hetty Green. I don't know if you guys remember Hetty Green. Probably not. This is 1920s. Anyway, this woman was a horrible, horrible narcissist. Horrible. And she was a hoarder. And she allowed her children to get gangrene. And I don't know if they died or if they had arms amputated or a leg amputated, but it turned out she had tons of money, but she would not spend it on the child because she was afraid of not having enough. I'm sorry, I would go completely broke to save my child. I would. I don't have a child, but if I did, I would. Do you see where I'm going with that? She just, ooh, God. Okay, so yes, narcissists, it's like they love to play the martyr. Martyr, 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 martyr. Like seriously, get off the cross. Thank you. They do. They love to play the martyr, and they love to pretend they're broke when they've got tons of money. So yeah, they do that. So you get rid of that by working on it, by giving yourself your own power back. Put it back on them. Decide how you want to relate to money. Okay. Take budgeting classes so you don't slip into that, money hand over fist and then not enough to pay bills. So really seriously, I'm not kidding you. Budgeting classes are great. Budgeting classes are fantastic. And they really do give us our power back, because now it's like, oh, I can only spend this much on that. Okay. But what a narcissist does is if you tried to budget with a narcissist, holy shit, it would be World War III, because you're telling them no. You're telling them, no, we can't do that. And the second they hear, no, we can't do that, they'll go spend twice the amount on something else. So, yeah. And this is the other thing that's so heartbreaking and so angering, thinking about this, is that these abusers have a target at home. They've got kids at home, male or female abusers, doesn't matter. They will spend money recklessly. They will keep the family in a state of poverty. Meanwhile, the target is trying to get the fuck out. They can't ever get traction. And they just go and spend it like there's no tomorrow, like, buying new cars or buying, jewelry or buying, whatever that they don't need, right? But then they begrudge the target for going grocery shopping and buying mac and cheese for the kids, just an example. So, yeah. So you get rid of that fear of spending money by doing a budgeting class, sticking to the budget. Be good about that, because they don't, and they've never taught us how to. So it's really important that we learn how to budget, how to stick to a budget, and how to compensate in case we spend too much in one area. Okay, well, then I need to not spend so much over here. Again, balance. It's just like with everything else in healing from abuse. It's got to be balanced. I hope that answered your question. So do find a budgeting class. Do find a class. I know Catholic Charities does one. I know that Fresh Start Women's Resource Center here in Arizona does one. I'm sure there are other agencies that also offer budgeting classes. Do find one. Okay. Is overspending related to inner child issues? Yes, absolutely. Because we learn by watching the abuser, right? And so if they're abusive to us and giving us all sorts of messages about overspending or lack and scarcity, and here's how you compensate. So, okay, think about it, guys. If we have eating disorders, if we have money issues, overspending, retail therapy, right? Where do you think we learned that from? Because we had lack and scarcity in the emotional department, and we're trying to make up for it with material stuff or food, right? We're trying to soothe ourselves, right? If we overeat, we're trying to soothe ourselves. We're trying to make ourselves feel loved. Again, we've assigned food a meaning that it does not have. So that'll be a topic for another time, but I should probably go over that. So it's an inner child issue, which is why I'm saying go back over the inner child workbook with an eye towards what was the relationship to money? What messages did I get about enough? What did I get? How was that? So yeah, absolutely. It's an inner child issue. You bet. How do you develop a balanced attitude towards spending after being raised by stingy to the point of withholding food grandparents and always in debt? Ooh, parents. So again, I would definitely start working about our mistaken thoughts, our mistaken beliefs. I would do mirror work like a motherfucker, seriously, and give yourself permission to have balance. right? So, and the other thing of it is too, think about this. If you had, stingy to the point of withholding food grandparents and always in debt parents, this is a trauma. This is another way they trauma bond us. Damn, they're bastards and they're sneaky. So this is another way that they trauma bond us. This is a trauma bond. This is a total trauma bond, because if we're constantly going, I don't have enough food, I don't have enough food, I don't have enough food. Oh my God, do I have a house? Are they going to take the house away? Do we have a car? Can they get to a job? Trauma bond, trauma bond, trauma bond. So you need to get with a goddamn good trauma therapist and start working on this particular issue. Damn fucking straight. This is another way that those motherfuckers trauma bonded us. Fuck, I hate them. Okay. So trauma therapist, start working on the inner child workbook, start working on the CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving, The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker, and also the Self-Esteem workbook by Glenn Schiraldi, because this is all connected. This is all connected. This is another trauma. This is another trauma bond. This is how they traumatized us. Not having enough. Too much, not enough. Too much, not enough. And if it's not enough, it's terrifying for a child. So yeah, it's another trauma bond. I hate them. If I had my way, it's a good thing I'm not God, there'd be a lot of dead people. So, okay. All right. So yeah, I want you to do that. Get with a good trauma therapist. This is a trauma bond. You betcha. Like nobody's business. Start working on the Inner Child Workbook by Catherine Taylor with an eye towards the withholding food. The always in debt. Do we have a house? Do we have a car? Can we get to work? Are we going to be, debtors? Are we going to be, poor and thrown out on the street? Do I have enough food? Yeah, this is a trauma. So get with a good trauma therapist, start working the Inner Child Workbook, start working the CPTSD book. Yes. And the Self-Esteem book. So be careful what you say to yourself about money. Seriously. So how we say it is what our subconscious creates happening. So it's really important to change your relationship with money, which is why I think writing it out is really good, separating out what was the parents or the grandparents and figuring out what money really is to you. And then watch how you talk about it. It's like, what I've noticed is that a lot of people, when they have this like negative attitude towards money, they never have enough. Well, because they don't think they deserve it. And they've been given the message they don't deserve it. So it's really important. It's okay to have enough. It's okay to have enough. It's okay to have plenty. It is. So positive affirmations about that will help as well. But get with a good trauma therapist. Absolutely. All right. My mom always tells me I'm not capable of managing money. Even if I tell her I absolutely can, then she guilt trips me for not taking money from her. Is that her fear of me being independent? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. You betcha. Absolutely. They, especially if there's codependency going on, they need to be needed. They want you to need them. And my dad did the same thing. It was like, oh, you need me. Oh, you need me. And it's like, no, motherfucker, I don't. So yeah, it's all about being independent. So you're going to have to think about low contact to no contact. And arguing with her is not going to do any good. She's got her own story. Okay. This is a story. So remember, they tell stories because they want us to believe their stories and they hope that we buy into it. And then we start being bad with money. So don't even go there. When she starts doing the whole, oh, you can't manage money. Yeah, mom, whatever. Like seriously, don't even engage. Don't take it seriously. No contact to low contact if you can, and gray rock like a motherfucker. Yeah, that's her fear of you being independent. Absolutely. So I want you to do a lot of positive reinforcement, positive self-regard, positive affirmations about how good you are with your money, and that what mom says is not true. You might even want to write that out. Dear mom, thanks for the lie about me not being good with money. That's a fucking bald-faced lie. You're fearful of me being independent. Fuck the fuck out of you, you fucking bitch. I'm not buying your bullshit story. Go fuck yourself. Guess what? I'm good with money. Love me. And then trot it out to the barbecue and burn it. Absolutely. Okay. Is there such a thing as overindulging yourself? I tend to spend every single cent I have because I was never allowed to have access to my own money. Yes. So again, this is, how do I explain this? This is one of those too much, not enough. Okay. It's like, so never access to your own money, so that's not enough, right? And now you've gone in the other direction, you're overindulging because now you have access to your own money. So again, balance. And honestly, this is, narcissists set their kids up and they set their spouses up, their targets up, their, whatever, for failure. And they want us to fail. They do. They absolutely, because a good parent, guys, a good parent teaches their child how to balance. Like, not only how to balance checkbooks or bank accounts, but how to balance in life emotionally, how to balance learning to walk, how to balance, play with work, how to balance. They don't have balance and they don't want us to balance. So like I said, we get this swing of the pendulum. It's either too much, not enough, too much, not enough, too much, not enough. So it's really important that you get into a good budgeting class and you learn how to budget and really separate that out. Wow, mom, dad, you never allowed me access to my own money. Okay. And now I'm spending it hand over fist because I can, because I was always denied all these years. So guess what? I'm not doing that anymore. Give them the big middle finger. So yeah, it's really important to start working on your thoughts about money because it's yours now. It's yours. You have nothing to prove to them. It's not about them anymore. It is about you. So it is about getting balance. It is about budgeting. It is about separating out the lack and scarcity that they pulled with you and reassuring that inner child, we have plenty. We don't have to spend it. We can save some. It's okay. And they don't want us to save. Oh my God. My mom worked for my dad for 45 years. He never paid her. He never paid her. Never. And she was stupid enough to put up with that. When I would take jobs, he would take my money because he thought it was his. And then people wonder why I left when I was 17. So, it's like, yeah. So they give us these weird messages, what's mine is mine, what's yours is mine, and what's everybody's is mine, right? And that you can't have it, you can't manage it. I'm going to spend it, you can't spend it, blah, blah, blah. So we get these weird messages. So yeah, I would definitely get with a good trauma therapist. This is a trauma. And I would start working on positive affirmations of it's okay for you to save. It's okay for you to have an emergency fund. It is. It is a good idea to have an emergency fund. It's okay to have an emergency fund. It's okay to have money that you do not spend. It's okay to have money in a savings account. It is okay. And we need to give ourselves those positive affirmations because those guys never did. They were always like, hand me your money. Give me every single cent. Blah, 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 blah. No, you have a right to have a savings account. You have a right to have an emergency fund set aside. You have a right. It's your money. Save some of it. It's okay. It's okay. So, get with a good trauma therapist. Start working on that and start working on, okay, so what is that rebelling against? How old do you feel? How old is that kid inside that wants to just go, oh yeah, mom, oh yeah, dad, fuck you, I'm spending everything. How old are you? How old are you? Where is that coming from? Work on that. Love that inner child. Seriously, love that inner child. There's a reason why we rebel. There is a reason why we do these things that are ultimately harmful to ourselves, but it's kind of like we're trying to do a fuck you to the abuser, but instead we kind of do a fuck you to ourselves. So it's really important. Love that inner child. Love that inner child like nobody's business. That poor little kid just needs to be loved and reassured and taught that they can manage their own money, no matter how old they are. So yeah, that's what I want you to work on. Okay. Any money, finance related red flags when dating and trying to avoid narcs? Oh, so many. Oh, so many. So actions speak louder than words. So watch how they treat the waitstaff. I've said this before, but it's like they'll do one of two things. They'll either be super flashy, right? Oh, look at how much money I have. I'm going to throw my money around. Somebody, it was years ago, but somebody posted something about they went out on a date with this guy and he threw like a large bill, like $100 bill in the middle of the table and said something like, if you impress me, you get this. And I'm like, who the fuck does that? So if they're grandiose, they kind of do that kind of thing. A lot of covert narcissists are fucking hoarders, man. They don't like spending any of their money. And so they'll treat the wait staff horribly, like they're their own servants. And then at the end of the night, they'll give them less than 5% of a tip, which I'm just like, having worked as a server before, I'm just like, fuck you, asshole. Like, honestly, I used to have to follow a certain family member around who shall remain nameless because they're still alive. And I would have to give a tip way bigger because she would never, ever tip the proper amount. It was always like literally, 1%. And I'm just like, this is not the 1930s anymore, sweetheart. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, it's red flags like that. If they're very much materialistic and, oh, look how great I am because I'm driving this Lamborghini and this is, it's like, no, I'm sorry. Who are you without the Lamborghini? Really? Who are you without the Lamborghini? Because most people actually have something there. Narcissists don't. Because narcissists become the thing. The thing becomes the narcissist becomes the thing. So yeah, watch that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with dressing up. There's nothing wrong with owning a Lamborghini. Fuck, I'd love to own a Lamborghini. I'd probably kill myself in it, knowing the way I drive. But, it's not who you are. You are not your stuff. You are not any of this stuff. We are spirits in a body, and who you are and how you treat people is really who you are. So, yeah, be careful of people who do that, who become the thing, right? Who the thing is them and the thing represents them. And if they lose the thing, then they lose themselves. That's a big red flag. Hope that answered your question. If it didn't, let me know. So, and I can try to answer your question then. All right. I have a very hard time accepting gifts, money from not only cluster B personalities, but also from healthy people. How do I begin to trust the healthy people in my life? Where is the continued guilt coming from? This ties back into compliments. Do you remember when I talked about how hard it is for us to accept compliments? Hang on just a second. So when we have been told that we're not good enough, right? Constantly, not good enough. You're not good enough, not good enough, not good enough. Or what if, or there's strings attached, right? Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to talk about. They attach strings like nobody's business. Like I said, they're Indian givers. They'll give you something, but there is a ginormous string attached and you had better toe the line or they'll take it away or they'll make you feel guilty for it or whatever. So when we come out of an abusive relationship, whether that abusive relationship is with a family or whether that abusive relationship is with a lover or friends or a boss or whatever, we have a very hard time accepting compliments. And I'm going to get to the gift giving in a moment because we've been told we're not worthy. So let's take this a step further. When we get gifts, were there always strings attached? Did we always end up paying for that gift emotionally? 9 times out of 10, if it came from a cluster B, the answer to that would be yes. So it's really a matter of drawing your own boundaries. This all, again, goes back to self-esteem, the disease to please, boundaries. So the self-esteem workbook, Glenn Schiraldi, the disease to please, Harriet Breaker. It is about recognizing your own worth, also learning to trust your gut. Is this gift a gift that has strings attached? If it is not, then it's a gift, truly. Like a gift is a gift. Gift meaning yours, no strings attached, right? But with cluster B personalities, it's like gift, major bungee cord attached, right? So you start trusting yourself. You got to start trusting your own gut. You've also got to start trusting your own gifts. You got to give to yourself. You got to give to yourself. That's how we get used to getting gifts from somebody else, getting compliments from somebody else. So this is going to be a lot of working on the guilt, fear, obligation, guilt, fog, right? So you got fear, obligation, and guilt, mostly guilt, from whoever the abuser was. So you've got to put that back onto the abuser. CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker, chapter 3, I think. So go back into that, put it back on the abuser. This is not your guilt. This is not even yours. Don't accept it. Seriously. So, and work on the positive regard, positive affirmations that it's okay for you to get gifts that are truly no strings attached. It's okay. So you got to start working on trusting yourself, which means you need to be able to give to yourself compliments, positive regard, etc., listening to your gut. So remember, the head and the heart tell stories. They love to tell stories. That's all they do is they tell stories. Ginormous, big stories. The gut is a simple yes or no answer to a yes or no question. So you got to start practicing with your gut. Start practicing with your gut. Start practicing. See what is real, what isn't. What is your stuff? What is their stuff? Put it back on them. It's not yours. Don't take it. Does that make sense? So anytime you feel guilt, that's a really good time to start writing it out. Where did this come from? Whose guilt is this? Who's telling me I'm not worthy? Who's telling you you're not worthy? Well, fuck them. Sideways with an unlubricated baseball bat. That's a load of crap. You are worthy. Fuck them. But narcissist loves to make us feel like we're not. That's their whole thing. It's like, how dare you? How dare you get something that I don't have? I really hate those people. Okay. Do we sort of mimic the same patterns and habits that we learned from the narc? Yes, we can. Those are called fleas. So when we're in an abusive family, we don't know any better because they've normalized crazy. Think about it. We come out of an abusive family, and so we think all of this stuff that they're doing is normal and that every single family does that. No, not even a little. So we pick up fleas. We pick up bad behaviors. We pick up, stuff like that from them. And we do that emotionally. We do that physically. We do that financially. Fleas. Yes. So go through and figure out what your financial fleas are. What are your financial fleas? What did you pick up from the abuser that is not normal, that is not true, that is not real, that is not who you are? So yeah, we absolutely do pick up patterns and habits that we learned from the narc, because when we're raised by them, like I said, they've normalized abnormal. And so when we come out of it, we think it's normal until obviously we start going through life and we're like, oh, wait, this isn't working. Wait a minute. The way they taught me, this isn't working, and you get into therapy and you start figuring out, holy shit, that was not normal. So, yes, that's fleas, basically. The one I know is a covert narc, and I catch myself doing things that they did unintentionally. Yeah. So basically what it is, good for you for catching it. So basically what it is that you bring it to the light. Here's this behavior, here's this behavior, here's this behavior. I found myself doing this, and this. I don't want to do that anymore. And then you keep catching yourself. And eventually it gets to the point where it doesn't even happen because you caught yourself before it even happens. Or it just doesn't happen because you go, yep, that doesn't work for me anymore. So again, get with a good trauma therapist to start working on these fleas and start, cutting those little heads off with your nail. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Do we have any more? Yes. Okay, how do I get over father's repeated comment that you'll always owe him for the money he spent on you growing up? Oh my God, my dad used to do that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You don't owe them jack shit. You don't owe them jack shit. This is what really pisses me off, is these fuckers have kids. And then they turn around and go, you owe me. And you know what I used to tell my dad? And of course, it always got me hit too, but I never stopped saying that because, fuck him. I used to tell him, you know what, asshole? I'm not the one who didn't wear a condom X number of years ago. And then, of course, he'd hit me. But the truth of the matter is, you're not the one who didn't wear a condom X number of years ago. You owe him nothing. You owe him nothing. Zip, zero, zilch, nada. So I would say it's really important for you to start working on the guilt that you have, that he keeps trying to instill in you. You owe him nothing. You didn't. Theoretically, okay, it depends on your spiritual view. Now, of course, to Buddhists, we did ask to be born, but it's like, seriously, it's like, no, this is his thing, not yours. You owe him nothing. So you may want to consider going low to no contact. Again, here is the question to ask yourself. If you were not related to these jackasses, would you have anything to do with them? If the answer is no, act accordingly. So you owe him nothing. Work on the guilt. Get with a good therapist and start working on self-esteem, boundaries, and self-esteem, boundaries, and the guilt, because this is not yours. This is not yours. You didn't ask to be born X number of years ago. This person decided to take it on. He's a goddamn adult, chronologically. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you become a parent, you've chosen. hopefully, to become a parent. Not always. I know there's some people out there that don't. But the point being is that that is your responsibility as an adult. That is not the child's responsibility. That what I see narcissists and abusers do is that they make the child responsible financially. They make the child responsible emotionally. They parentify the child, so the child suddenly becomes the parent to the narcissist. Or they, worse, they make the child the lover, right? So they put everything on the kid like it's somehow the kid's job and or responsibility to take care of the narcissist. It is not. It is not. Mirror work, not your job. Really reinforce that. This is not your job. You don't know him jack shit. You don't. So, you know, if he's a real narcissist, don't even bother trying to contradict him because it kind of sounds like that. Don't even bother trying to contradict him. Again, gray rock. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Sure. See where I'm going with it? Don't roll your eyes. But you know what I'm saying. So there is that. Do flying monkeys like to throw in other siblings' face that they have money and you do not? Yes, absolutely. Because to them, money means something. Money is a status. Money is an ego thing. Look at what I've got. Look at all I've got. Look at all I've got. You know, who cares? Who cares? We're all going to be maggot food in, 100 years anyway. So, it's really important that, you consider the source. And if somebody, again, is they're the stuff and the stuff is them. And if they don't have the stuff, what are they? Probably nothing. So, that's where you have to really be like, oh, isn't that interesting? Oh, okay. Yeah. You got lots of money. Gray rock. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. No emotion. No emotion. They're looking for they're poking the bear. They're going poke, 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 and they want you to go rawr. So don't rawr. Don't respond. You're gonna just be like gray rock or no contact or very low contact with gray rock. So yeah, they absolutely do that. They absolutely do that. Okay, kids, we are up to 1 o'clock. I am tired. Have a wonderful week. Be good. I think next weekend I would like to talk about the I love you, I hate you, the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll, Mrs. Hyde, that kind of thing. Because it's very confusing, especially people coming out of one of those relationships to see them, do it with somebody else or see them continue to do it with you and the kids or whatever. So I want to talk about Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde and how to handle that because that's really, it's draining. Okay, my loves, be good. Have a great week. Be good to each other. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Remember, SusannaQuintana.com if you are outside of Arizona. If you're inside of Arizona, yeah, you could give me a call. All right, that's it. All right, have a great week, guys. Mwah. Be good. Bye.